everyone, and welcome to another episode of the ScreenShot, the show where we have raw and unfiltered conversations about issues that we face as young people of Zimbabwe. My name is Melinda Ncube and I am your host. Joining me today to have this discussion on SRH, for those who don't know what it is, today you're going to learn more about it, are two young members of our youth hub, and I'm going to let them tell us more about themselves. Guys, over to you.
My name is Brendon Tembo, a member of the CITE Youth Hub from Pomla North.
Welcome, Brendon.
Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, my name is Ruth Busisiwe Nyathi, also known as Poet Tribe, and I'm a peer educator, an SRH advocate, and I'm also part of the Youth Hub.
Let's say Tribe Ruthie. I think that's what I'll call you. So guys, welcome to the ScreenShot. It's nice to have you. You know, it's nice to have you guys here sing echo discussion.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like I've mentioned today we want to talk about SRH, and Ruth here is the one who was more about it. And so Ruthie, can you tell our audience what exactly is SRH? Because most people probably have heard the term, but they don't even know what it is. And so can you please educate us more on what it is?
So SRH basically stands for Sexual Reproductive Health, which is inclusive of menstrual health, reproductive health, sexual health. It also incorporates gender-based violence as well.
Okay, Brendon, did you know? Because I did not. I did not know.
SRH
That's why we need our experts here when we have these things. So you mentioned what the first thing you mentioned was what?
Reproductive health, and I also menstrual health. Sorry, I talked about menstrual health.
Can you tell us more about menstrual health when it comes to SRH? Like more about menstrual health.
All right, so when it comes to sexual reproductive health, when we incorporate menstrual health, we're talking about menstrual hygiene. We're ensuring that everyone has access to good sanitation. We're also talking about people being able to manage their periods. That's what they call it. Okay, and then we also talk about pills one can really take whenever they're experiencing their menstrual cycle. We also talk about menstrual cycle tracking as well.
All right, I hear you. So basically our topic today, we wanted to talk about access to SRH. Like it's something that most of us don't even know what it is for one and how you can access these things. And if I'm being honest, like I wish I had known earlier when I was first getting like my menstruals, there are such things, because I wasn't really educated on it. And so Brendon, let me come to you. And did you know that there are places where you can get these things? Is it available for also guys? And not into the menstrual health, but I mean the SRH thing.
Oh yes, you could also go into clinics, and we as the peer educators as well, we belong to the Young People's Network on Sexual Reproductive Health, which is basically a part of the National AIDS Council. So if you go to our services, or sometimes we have these expos and work with certain individuals within the society, we also give out information. We call it information dissemination, whereby we talk about these things, address stereotypes, and talk about the discrimination when it comes to access to sexual reproductive health related services. For example, most people would say they don't know where to have such things. For example, they would not know that, I remember this other event we went to, this other individual said he did not know that if you're less than 18, you can go to a clinic or a New Start center and get tested for HIV for free. And basically, most people do not know that as well. Oh, sorry. The other thing I also forgot when it comes to sexual reproductive health, we also talk about HPV and how we can prevent cervical cancer. Yeah.
HPV and how we can prevent cervical cancer. So what limits young people to have access to SRH services?
So basically, stereotypes also play a role in basically limiting people going to go and get such services. For example, people might say that when it comes to SRH, most parents or the society is not really friendly when it comes to such things, because they've created this mentality that such things or such issues are very sacred, hence certain individuals should not talk about them. And I feel the other thing is, within society, most people preach for abstinence. So when certain individuals start engaging, they are scared to literally go and look for things that they can use while they're engaging safely. For example, condoms. Most people are afraid to go and collect condoms, especially in societies where there's religion. Because most people think with religion, basically we're abstaining. So once they see you carrying a condom, there's a certain judgment that they're going to give you. But I'm not saying that it's wrong to abstain. It's a good thing. It's also a great way of protecting yourself from getting infected with HIV or AIDS. And the other thing is, they're complaining that whenever they go to such centers, it's not really youth friendly, though there are youth friendly corners within clinics that are working towards that. So I'm basically going to say that the issue of the spaces not being as friendly as it's supposed to be is something that the youth-friendly corners are working to address within those clinics or institutions that deal with ensuring that certain individuals have access to sexual reproductive related services.
I have a question for Brendon here. As a young man, like Ruth has mentioned, various centers and stuff, and would you feel comfortable going to a place that wants to talk about izinto related to sex and sexual reproduction or something like that? Would you feel comfortable as a man?
Yeah, no, personally.
Or you'll be shy to be there, so getting tested for STIs and all that?
Yeah, to some extent. And I was talking to a friend in the morning, namuhla, discussing indaba zona zokutesta and going for my counseling and stuff. So a friend of mine was saying, "No, my guy, I'm afraid of going to get tested for HIV and AIDS because results are quite discriminated, treated as an outcast, and stuff. So now rather not know, you know. I feel all right, but ngabe sengimbuso all right when I saw ubhejela ukuthi ufake ibhedeni emdenini wakho ube wakhangelayo, because esibhedlela vele nxa ungahamba sugula they will tell you that I know asibone lutho, because uyawuswela kunjani ukutest. Look, I think when it comes to testing, it's voluntary. If you go to esibhedlela kule bakubuza ngodokotela or nurse ukuthi do you want to test for HIV and AIDS, and was saying that he wouldn't do that, because everyone afekwazi saying that the stress that comes with the local he's now living with HIV and AIDS. He rather not know, and I feel so no my guy, if you do this and kangela ibhede nokubela emdenini wakho, you're told the breadwinner at home, you're the one who's working, they're depending on your support for to pay the school fees and such a thing.
I think also the safety of others.
And the safety of others, yes. I was telling you the safety right of your girlfriend or your girlfriends, you know. Because umuntu abangakwazi girlfriend amangaka yabona. Okunto ngikhona kusuka kube lento ezini phakathi kuba labantu abaningi aba involved phakathi yabona. So yeah, bengimtshela khona lokho nje, but na personal as a person who has been exposed to such things engafundiswa la ngisesayo school ukuthi no guys, don't be afraid to get tested, you know. Every 6 months I make it a point that I go and test, so that I don't put my family or my friends or my girlfriend in your one.
Yeah, I think basically one of the major causes of ukuthi abantu besabe ukuyatestela for HIV is due to stereotypes that we've built around khona lokho. Because even within the society, you already have names that you give to people you know are HIV positive. And most of them sebesabesaba lokuyathatha amaphilisi in the nearby clinics, sebesenza ukuthi betravel going in because they are so scared because I've realized that most of us, we have this mentality that tells us, Kuti, every time when you're HIV positive, you're promiscuous. But it's not really that case. Get infected with HIV through. So it's not only through engaging in sexual intercourse. Maybe when you use some injections and then you get infected, when you share needles, sharp objects, and then there's that parent-to-child infection as well.
Infection.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So,
yeah, uqinisile when it comes to especially name calling. You know, sometimes we even say it to someone that we don't know. You know, you say things as a joke. Sometimes I've lost weight, so the AIDS even. You know, it's things like that. Even if we don't know whether it's true or not, AIDS, you know. But you know, it's now different from. I think it's now different. Is stigma that was there probably 20 years back, and I think people are now seeing that you can actually live a full life with HIV. It's not like his intention about diabetes that actually kill you faster. This one is manageable. And I feel like, you know, topics like this that educate people on ukuthi it's okay to go and get tested and find out ukuthi kwenzakalani. So you mentioned something about abstinence, and as young people, do you think it's practical to preach abstinence to this generation and say, "Uti, abstain, guys"? Do you think it's practical? Do we do abstinence or do we do protection?
So, Mina, basically, I believe we have that freedom of choice, right? So we educate them about all the measures that they can use to prevent themselves from being infected with HIV, and then they can choose because we might assume people are abstaining and teach them about abstaining. But then that group may be abstaining. But abstinence is the best, though.
What do you think, Brendon? Do you think it will practically?
Nah, as an Adventist, you know, the Adventist background in Kaya, when I saw really, it's been no sex before marriage, no to sex right before marriage. But then I think abstinence is the best, you know. Even though abanye beyasuza before marriage, but yeah, I'd rather. We won't have options are set up. It's either you abstain or use a condom. Yeah,
I think young people are very experimental.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Not only when it comes to sexual things, you know, even
alcohol and drugs.
Yeah, because
so let's teach them everything. Then they choose.
What?
Because if we're saying they're experimenting, then we're here preaching abstinence. That would mean that there's a certain group that we're talking to and living out maybe the majority. So let's tell them about abstinence. Let's tell them about the continuous use of condoms. Let's tell them about being faithful to one sexual partner. If that works for them, then basa choose.
Okay, nandombuzo. Lama lokhuzana lama pills la sakhona kuthiwa prep. How ngathi kuyasebenza 700% lokhana or what?
So with
ubungichasile further ukuthi prep yona ngiyani le pep because ngiyakwazi ukuthi kulona upril lokho
so prep is pre-exposure.
Okay.
So you can use it before you are exposed to HIV virus. Then with EPEP, it's after. But there's a certain timeline.
What's the timeline?
As soon as you get exposed to the virus, you could use EPEP.
All right, because I thought there was like a timeline or EPEP as soon as you get exposed. That when they assume maybe this person is saying I can use it, even though you're not really sure if you have it, you can still use it. It does not harm.
It does not harm because there is a certain specific frame of time. Whenever you go and what you call is it the incubation period where you get tested, and then maybe is it 3 weeks? How many weeks? I'm no longer sure. I'm so sorry. So there's a certain time where you go and get tested, and when you feel like maybe you've been exposed to that virus, right? and then bengayitholi ku system yakho, but then when you come back after some time beyithole futhi. So I think with PrEP, right, when you feel like maybe you've been exposed to the virus, it's best to uthi uhambe. But then with these things, right, PrEP, especially PrEP, so what happened is we were with an expo, right? So before you get access to PrEP, you have to be tested first, so that they know what you're negative, and then you can start using it as well.
Okay, that's very interesting. So I came across this article the other day. Eyayikhuluma ngokuthi umuntu who's HIV positive, when they take their medication, ukuthi they don't pass on the virus to like their partner.
Or you're talking about discordant couples.
The what?
Discordant couples, where one is HIV positive and the other is negative.
HIV positive.
So I did try to dig deeper about that. So with discordant couples is omunye would be taking their ARVs, and you know how the ARVs are suppressing the locozanine, the virus. And then I think, which one is it? I'm no longer sure. Between PrEP and PEP, the negative couple, the negative partner, sorry, would be using that medication.
Oh, because it said continuously taking their medication to the CD4 count goal is low, or what viral load. CD4 count. The viral load is low, and unjani gasa pass on a virus. Not to say I'm encouraging that, but it sounded like something that's very helpful. You know, if you take your medication, you'll be able to still do your things, even have children who don't have the virus.
Yeah, plus and there's that locozanine where they introduced to help parents don't pass on the virus to their children as well. So
guys, how important is educating people on these things? Because sometimes you have HIV and you get pregnant, and you don't go to get checked out. You just think, I'm going to pass it on to umntanaman, but you can actually save your child from getting those things. So, Brendon, how important is it for educating our youth when it comes to izinto zonalezi?
Educating our youth on abstinence or use of a condom when it comes to sexual activity plays a huge role, given the fact that most of our bantu phandle lapha abawazi ama consequences that are associated with being infected with ama diseases now, like I said earlier, ukuthi wena uzabe breadwinner endlini, right? And ubusihambe kwenza nje izinto without knowing ukuthi you've got a role to play emndenini, ukuthi kumele unakekele abantwana. And I think it is important because kuyancedisa ekureducing ama numbers of HIV and AIDS infection in the country, given the fact that there's that 90-90 locozanine, which was proposed to ukuthi we want to have at least some like 90%. You can
90% who are being tested, right? And then there's that 90% for those who are infected that are taking IAT.
So kuyancedisa ukuthi achieve ama goals now, and at the same time go reduce ama ama mortality rate caused ama diseases on HIV and AIDS and stuff, and at the same time nxa educate abana bethu yabona kuyavikela entweni eziningi, yabona, because baba exposed to into eziningi ukuthi if they ngathi i-peer pressure of some sort ukuthi uzezwa omunye umngane ukuthi kami nasengenze lokho and siyakhipha awufama wenze njani no mna I did not use a condom lambe ngena, given the fact that ukuthi yena omunye uyabe ngakwasidina le partner yakhe bayenzeni, right? Yathuthi nxe yena lwana le partner yakhe bambe ba test at first, right? Bathuthi nxe bona they are negative, but wena nxa ukuthi lawe wena uyabunga kwazi khona ukuthi lama testing centers and whatsoever uzaphuma uhambe ngena lo muntu ongamazi ukuthi i-background yakhe ikholela ngakho, because abanye abantu kunzima ukuthi bakutshela status sabo se-HIV and AIDS ukuthi sime njani, yabona. Uzabuza umuntu to right awufa uyakutest yena umuntu uzathi ukuthi ama-results akho aphumayo waphi, umuntu awuthi I'm negative, because yabe sizathi nxa ngingakutshela ukuthi I'm positive enxa umuntu uzangidamba, yabona.
Oh yeah, I think Mina, it's for when you mentioned into the menstruation, and especially about now who are just starting out, and abanye they don't have that guidance ezindlini and stuff. So I think ukuthi abekwazi umzimba wakhe kwenzakalani. You know, puberty is a very critical stage in girls and boys' lives, and so ngizakhulumela amankazana since someone, and it's very critical, and it's nice to have guidance on know what's going on with your own body. Yabona ukuthi ungabi so oblivious and shocked to what's happening. Yabona when you get those cramps ubekwazi know you're okay. Yabona umzimba wakho is changing, and this is a natural thing. And so informing these young girls, and they know. And also when you were talking about ukusebenzisa ama-condom and stuff, no, condoms don't only prevent HIV but also pregnancies. You know, most of our young girls are falling pregnant at very young ages, and umntwana, you can't take care of your child la ugciniwe endlini. And so no, we educate them and tell them ukuthi your life is not going to is probably not going to go according to plan because of a child, you know, because umntwana after yadura, and umntwana might, you know, like you mentioned ukuthi it's bigger than that. Kuyaba kusiba icycle umntwana wakho sesibalele, quality of life low, like probably the cycle will repeat itself, yabona. So I think it's very important anyway.
So like you did mention ukuthi menstrual health, they should know certain things. So the good thing is we have a comprehensive sexuality education, which is infused with some of these subjects as a scholar, for example, science, where they are told about the adolescent change. Yeah, so at this stage, this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen. But unfortunately, I feel like abazali iningi, they don't go deeper than that. Okay, fine, you are going to experience periods. So to ensure you know cycle uyenza so okay, this is how you wear a pad properly. And then I think they also don't even delve into when you're now menstruating, isa pain usebenzisa iphi medication. So I think these are some of ama-gaps akhona nje. And then I feel like it's not only about us expecting certain individuals to do those things for us. It could start with you nje, uhambe kumna wakho lexoxisana, because you know maybe sesikhathini, then you talk about certain things. Or maybe nje organize a group of girls in the community, and then you talk to them about such a thing.
Yeah, you're considered. It all starts with every one of us. If we put an effort, we can be able to make a change. Guys, thank you so much for coming. Okay. Thank you so much for adding your perspectives on this issue. I appreciate it, guys. So anyway, guys, we've come to the end of our episode. Thank you for tuning in.